I think I've seen it. I suspect you have too. The shining. It's powerful in those least expected moments when we thought it would be the last thing we would have seen. It happens when we're just going about our day most of the time. It hits us between the eyes in the middle of a conversation with somebody we've known for many a day or for the very first time. And there is this sort of pause, or at least it seems like a pause, when you can almost sense the presence so close. What happens is perhaps best described by an old poem called Faith Matheny in a book I read way back in high school called Spoon River Anthology. At first you will know not what they mean, and you may never know, and we may never tell you. These sudden flashes in your soul, like lambent lightning on a snowy clouds at midnight when the moon is full. They come in solitude, or perhaps you sit with your friend, and all at once a silence falls on speech, and his eyes without a flicker glow at you. You two have seen the secret together. He sees it in you in him. And there you sit, thrilling, lest the mysteries stand before you and strike you dead with a splendor like the sun's. Be brave, all souls who have such visions. As your body's alive as mine is dead, you're catching a little whiff of the ether reserved for God himself. It's what grace feels like, I think, just that, a shining. When you're catching a whiff of that ether reserved for God himself. It's when heaven and earth come together. In this Jesus, it happens. It's what, as I suspect, overcame these friends that day on a mountain called Tabor, when Jesus' face shone with a splendor like the sun's. And these three, his dear friends, his disciples, sat there, thrilling at the mystery that stood before them. A moment never forgotten. They never are. But like in all the scriptures, these moments of his become ours when we live his way. The conversation was about suffering, the suffering of love. I'm telling you, I see that shine most clearly on the faces of those who suffer the most and who suffer with grace and gratitude and count no cost if it is for love. Whether they are 18 or 81, it's in their bones now. And here, just then, in this meeting, I saw it. It burned to be so close. You see, we too, we can shine like the sun for others when we welcome the suffering of the day and use it for love. But there's another time I see it too. When we choose the vulnerable life over the secure life, the safe life. I see it then. And I see it when we die in that vulnerability as well. One of those moments is actually a moment that is almost always for us a very difficult place to go. Difficult because it involves tremendous vulnerability, and therefore it takes a great trust. It demands experiencing the always embarrassing and even oftentimes shameful about ourselves. We call it confession. And even though there could not be any more guarantee, there are no guarantees anywhere on this planet like this, that this is a safe place. There's always that little bit of doubt, you know? Will he look down on me? Will he judge me? It demands entering into our own darkness, and it demands floundering for words, even sometimes through tears, in front of another human, trying to say what we want to say as clearly as we want to say it. Any one of those objections can make us back away and choose to stay home and watch television and play video games. But when you and I muster the vulnerability to do it, and when that vulnerability is well received, there's nothing like it in all the world. And as the church for some 17 centuries promised, there is that grace there. There is that grace there guaranteed. There and then I see you shine. I see you shine in that moment. Right then, right there, right in front of my own human eyes. As you heard, this Wednesday is our annual Confession Marathon. Last year, some 140 of us joined together for the sacrament this day set aside for mercy. I hope this year you're one of them, so that we too, you and I, can see it together. This whiff reserved for God himself. Really? I don't know this, but in my imagination, when those three and Jesus packed up their tents and headed down the mountain, and they were about to call it a day, I hear Jesus say to them, "Good night, my brothers. Good night, my friends. Be brave and keep shining."